Hello, true duelists. YGO Strats here, and what I can promise is not my 5th video recorded in a row. Welcome to Why Not, a series where I talk about why I play and why you should play various decks. This week I'm talking about Mekk Knight, or as it may be better known as the Edo Pro / Dueling Book Eternal Meta. Or maybe not, I don't know what you faced relative to me, it's just I face this a lot. Mekk Knight is a neat deck. It, alongside Infinite Impermanence, have the prestige of changing how players play the game. They made columns matter. They also ruined T setting, so fuck Mekk Knight, eat shit and live. Why would you ruin the beauty of the T set like that? Have you not played the game? But that being said, I do play the deck and enjoy it, so they got a fully unbiased pass in that regard. Mekk Knight is another neat deck that can do okay going first, but shines best when going second. So if you like a going second deck, abusing powerhouse cards that Konami gave us to do so, and also the Rainbow, then this deck is for you. All the Mekk Knights have effects to special summon themselves from the hand to a column with 2 or more cards in it. This means that sometimes the opponent gives you free summons by themselves, by putting too many cards in one column. Or, if not, it means that you can set up columns by yourself by setting a spell or trap in the same column as an opponent's monster to make your monster's summoning effects live. The Mekk Knights also have solid effects, with the means to pop spell and trap or monsters from yellow and red respectively, move other Mekk Knights to other columns to enable extensions and plays with Indigo, and 2 separate means of searching. Blue can grab up to 3 monsters when summoned by its own effect, if not just 1, depending on how many cards are in its column that are owned by the opponent, and Purple's ability to tag out and search is incredibly good in longer, more drawn-out duels. Orange and green are both cringe and bad, but do make for easy extenders in the right conditions, and also technically orange is worth mentioning as link summoning with a Sangan will immediately search orange that can then later be summoned for more extension and plays, but cringe and bad. That's the takeaway from that. They also have the greatest flavor text on their in-archetype vanilla. Check this out. Now, you may be of the opinion that the poem relating to the lore of the World Legacy cards that was on the OCG version of the card is better, but there's one easy answer to prove just how wrong you are. Check this out! The deck has some great link monsters to use and abuse as well. The first one I'll mention is the Tower's Light monster. It's a link 3 with 3000 attack, and if it doesn't point to anything, it can't be targeted by the opponent's card effects or destroyed. And if it's alone in its column, it can also make an attack directly regardless of the other monsters on the field, making for the occasional cheeky win. They also have Avramax, who is an untargetable monster that gains the attack of any special summon monster it battles, and is the only monster your opponent's allowed to attack. And if that wasn't enough, it also spins a card when removed by the opponent, and is very annoying in general. Now, if that link 4 has been a pain in your ass in the past, or if it seems like the most annoying card in the archetype, don't worry, you're wrong. The most annoying card in the deck, by a long shot, goes to the glorious Mekk Knight of the Morningstar, who not only searches any World Legacy spell or trap on summon, but is also the bane of duelists everywhere who can't read. Because Morningstar makes it so if a Mekk Knight battles a monster that isn't in the same column as it, not only is the Mekk Knight not destroyed, but you take no damage from that battle. This effect is ignored by a lot of people, particularly on Dueling Book, and makes it a pain in the ass to face. Especially when this card is paired with Indigo, which is able to move itself and other Mekk Knights to other adjacent and open columns that it's just a pain in the ass, I can assure you. But that's not the only annoying part about this deck. That's right, I've just listed off annoying things and it gets worse. So if you're a fan of that kind of duelist, boy, are you gonna love Mekk Knight. And as my personal favorite Yugi tuber, Lithium2300 would say, there is
some bullshit.
The World Legacy spell and trap that Morningstar can search have some powerful cards for them. Succession is a monster reborn that can reborn any monster from your graveyard to a link point, and Memory is a Mekk Knight E-Telly. But there's 3 more ones that are just the worst. World Legacy Secret, Key, and Whispers all have some solid effects when activated. Secret revives any level 5 or higher monster from your graveyard, Key can grab a banished Mekk Knight back to your hand, and Whispers gives one level 5 or higher monster 1000 attack for the turn. Not bad. They're also all floodgates. Bad. Each have an effect that reads, negate any opponent's monster / trap / spell effect that activates in the same column as a Mekk Knight you control. Secret negates monster effects, Key negates traps, and Whispers negates spells. And this can be brutal. If you have 5 Mekk Knights across the 5 main monster zones, you will shut off the entirety of the opponent's cards of whatever type entirely. If you have all 3 of them up, and the 5 Mekk Knights, you're a cyberbully, and I'm reporting you to the FBI immediately. This gets worse when you realize that you don't need 5 monsters to shut off your opponent entirely. Secrets can revive a monster as a quick effect, since it's a chain, speed spell 2 trap card, meaning you can revive a Mekk Knight in response to an opponent's monster's effect, and as long as you revive it into the same column as that monster, their effect's negated. And if you get Indigo, you can then activate Indigo's effect to move a Mekk Knight into a column if they try to activate another effect that turn. What makes this especially gross is that if a monster effect is activated in a column with a Mekk Knight in it, something like Cosmo Farm Girl or Rescue Cat, even though they've left the field to activate their effect is still treating as having activated and therefore resolves in the same column. Meaning that even though they're no longer on the field, they're still negated on resolution. Disgusting! You said it, sister. Fucking gross. And that's not even getting into the fact that you could say revive an artifact Scythe off of secrets to lock your opponent from the extra deck, or maybe a DPE that your opponent got rid of earlier in the duel, or whatever. The deck also has a decent going first strategy these days. Girsu saw to that, enabling Mekk Knight's turn 1 by giving the opponent a token and free access to a Link 2. That can set up World Legacy Secrets for a monster negate just off the 1 card. But as always, there are downsides. Not opening Girsu going first is tough for the deck, and even opening it is practically a neon sign that just screams negate me. It also relies pretty heavily on going second blowout cards and or hand traps. If you're playing this and you open too many Mekk Knights and not enough variety, you're going second. Breaking through boards can be tough, especially against modern meta decks. And while Secrets, Key, and Whispers can be brutal, spell and trap removal can clear them out pretty easily. And I mean, more often than not, Whispers isn't really there to stop things like Lightning Storm or Feather Duster. The 1000 attack gain just isn't as versatile or useful as Secret's revival effect is. The deck is also in general slower compared to top tier threats, which can make it difficult to go up against more powerful meta contenders like Sword Soul. Really, it's a deck for 2 types of people. Someone who likes a healthy mix of combo and control in a deck, or someone who likes to troll with cards like Morningstar. And really, if you are the latter type, you may want to prepare for an opponent to Morningstar you. I am, of course, talking not about the monster in a mirror match, but the medieval weapon, because your life may be in danger. Here is my list. As always, nothing special. Hand traps, 2 disrupt, 2 ofs because I like seeing a bit of everything, and BLS Link to strap a helmet on when things go awry. Critique away, this is more of a variety deck for me than a passion one. It was my first control deck that I liked before I stumbled into Paleo Frog, and it's definitely a little bit out of date. But it's still fun to go back to from time to time just as a little bit of variety for it and to, punish people for columns. Just gotta remind them every once in a while, play around the Mekk Knights. And that is that. Thanks for watching, leave a comment and a like if you enjoyed it, and remember that since this is the Rainbow deck, if you don't play it, you're either a fake ally or fake member of the LGBT. I don't make the rules, I just write them down in the script. And as always, subscribe to YGO Strats so you too can become a true duelist.